Good night, my name is Santiago Dixon Moreno Preciado. I am in the research project course. My course director is Edna Suarez Salomia. This is my research project, the oral defense in my research project. Title of my research is Higher Education Student with Some Time of Motor or Cognitive Disability, Develop Inclusive Education for Students with Disabilities in the Area of English. Datasheet title Higher Education Students with Some Time of Motor or Cognitive Disability, Develop Inclusive Education for Students with Disabilities in the Area of English. Type of paper or research project, research line. The line of research is to address the problem of the lack of capacity and resist of teachers with the process of methodologies we used with students with disabilities in public and prepaid schools. In addition to educational inclusion and access to different applications and strategies of learning that will serve to solve and guarantee inclusive and quality education. Author Santiago Dixon Moreno Preciado. Advisor Edna Suarez Salomia. Keywords: training to teachers, students with disabilities, educational inclusive, teacher attitudes, learning methodologies. Statement of the problem. According to the Hallahan et al. 2015, early identification of characteristics and risks factors in students with learning difficulties and disabilities is essential for effective intervention. In this regard, it is important that educators are trained to recognize these characteristics and risk factors in order to provide appropriate support and resources to students who need it. To provide an education with quality and inclusion to all students, the main need for each of them must always be met. Adapting to the methodology and strategies that they would like the most, where they can learn in a fun and interactive way, in addition to using all the resources that the technology presents to us today. The great importance of this research work is the great help it will bring to all teaching in general with respect to new teaching methodologies and strategies that may be essential to discover new forms of teaching with respect to the learning process of special students, keeping in mind their limitations and unfavorable aspects in their normal development in their teaching learning process. The learning difficulties and disabilities are a reality in the regular classroom or virtually, which require specialized attention adapted to the needs of each student. The inclusion of these students in the regular or virtual classroom poses a challenge and opportunities the teachers and the educational system as a whole, and requires a systematic and comprehensive approach that promotes equity and social justice. Objectives: general objective: implement mechanisms and strategies that help me achieve a quality learning process for students with disabilities in the area of English without having to be excluded or set aside in their normal teaching process. Specific objectives: develop a special program to prepare teachers with the challenge of being able to prepare quality classes for different students who have a motor, cognitive, or physical disability. Other objective specific developed prepared support material to carry out our classes according to the level and preparation in which students with disabilities are be aware or what they need for their current understanding. Literature review. Through this research project, I want to determine the attitudes of teachers towards the processes of inclusive education of students with intellectual disabilities. With this, I want to know and reflect on how these attitudes are recreated towards in this sector of society, to whom one of the fundamental rights, such as education, should not be restored. Methodology. Through qualitative analysis, I conduct questionnaires, attitude scaling, standard results, and more. This is done through text and narration, which may also include audio and video representations. According to its depth and scope, it will be descriptive and explanatory with emphasis on depth and scope. The approach will be mixed, that is quantitative and qualitative, depending on will be described and explanatory with emphasis on depth and scope. The instruments will be interview and the questionnaires. Three kinds of the information is for my research. One, observation investigates the variables that affect the outcome of the program or innovation. Second, research moves coherently from the recognition of the previous phase to the selection and formulation of questions. Third, explanation. The general principles underlying the organization of the program are exposed. And finally, an analysis of the data obtained from the questionnaires and survey. The results are presented graphically according to each research instrument focused on the objectives. Conclusions. Within the problem, it is evident that there are teachers who need to prepare more in their knowledge and experiences with the students with some to internalize the work processes using active methodologies for meaningful learning. Other conclusions. Active methodologies are strategies that facilitate the implementations of activities in a planned and organized manner, since they build educational knowledge and improve the teaching learning process. And the last conclusion, didactic strategies contribute to the development of intelligence, affectivity, and empathy of students with the teacher through a close, sincere, and trustworthy relationship, which can grow in the trust and security of the students with respect to the teacher is gained. References: actitud docente frente a la actitud teacher to the education inclusive to the students with intellectual disability. Other reference: learning barriers for students with disabilities in a Chilean university. Students demands institutional challenge. For Angelica Corrales, Manuel Valentina Soto Hernández, Gabriela Villafañe, Ormazábal, 2016. Other reference active methodologies application for the teachers for students with educative needs specials, relation a intellectual disability en la educative unit called Manuel Nieto Cadena, doctoral dissertation Ecuador UCC, maestría en ciencias de la educación. And finally, Salcedo Benítez, Guerra Chacón, and Calderón Vargas, Claudio Flores, Braga Sandoval, the cooperative work in the meaningful learning in students, Peruvian students in special basic education. La revista Universal y Sociedad. And finally, this is my research project in abstract. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. Bye bye.